we're going to be building an AI automation health check. So what is it actually? Well, this is a great way to provide immediate value to anyone looking or anyone interested in automating their business, right? So the reason why this works so well is that this is a free tool in which you can give to business owners, to prospects, to basically get information about that business, to really test out, is this lead engaged in automation? Are they interested in what we have to offer? And we can provide this immediate value that is tailored to their business. So typically how these types of lead gen tools work is that it's generally a static white paper. But with automation, with AI, we can build tailored and personalized bits of advice. And this is a great way that we can use this internally in our agency. And if you learn how to build this, then really you are learning about the fundamentals of how to build automations. And it's a great first scenario to build out. So what are the tools we're going to be using? We're going to be using make.com. We're going to be using ChatGPT. We're going to be using Tally.so. So this is for the front end. Then we're going to be using the entire Google suite. So Google Sheets, Google Docs, Gmail. So how does this work, right? So it works very simply. The client is going to provide information about their business. And then when we get that information, we're going to send that off to ChatGPT to help us brainstorm automation ideas related to their challenges based on the information they provide us. Then we're going to generate a roadmap of automation ideas for the client. Then we're going to use ChatGPT to do a bit of research on related industry trends. So this is a great way to just give more value to the client. Then we are going to take all that information, we're going to generate a report, and then we're going to email that report to the client. So you can see that there's a series of steps that are occurring here. We're going to build this all in make.com, and let's go to the next step. Okay, so we're going to work on building out that first step around collecting client information. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to build an interactive form using Tally.so. So Tally is pretty much free to get started. So create an account. I'm just going to log into my account. And then what you'll find is on the left-hand side here, you've got a bunch of different workspaces. You can create your own workspace by clicking this little plus button. I've already created a space. And then we're going to create a new form. So let's just create a new form. And we're just going to call this automation health check, right? Hit enter. And the way how Tally works is you can just insert blocks. And we're just going to insert a short answer. And then we can add the title. So I added a few questions that we're going to use. So these are the questions we're going to build in Tally. So we're going to ask, these are the questions we're going to ask the client. What industry does your business operate in? What are your key business objectives? What challenges or pain points are you currently facing? What do you or your staff do on a daily basis to drive revenue? And then an email address. So feel free to tailor this, ask any questions that you'd like. These are just some default questions that you can ask. So this is what I'm going to build in Tally. So I'm just going to grab these and then just build it out. Okay, so I've just added the rest of those questions. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit publish. And that's going to create the form. So let's get this set up in make.com. So one thing we can do is we can integrate this form with make. So let's just go to make. Let's go, maybe what we'll do is open open it up in a split view. Okay. So I'm just going to go to my folder. I'm going to create a new scenario. We are going to call this scenario. Always good habit to just name all your scenarios. All right, and we've named it. And always save. I want you to get into the habit of constantly saving your scenarios. Always save. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the Tally module. So if we just go here, we can search Tally. And we're just going to watch for responses. Move that there. Delete that. So let's set this up. So if we go here, click on Tally, we're going to add a new webhook. So if we go to add. Now, I have already added my Tally connection, but if you haven't added yours, you can click on add. And what this will do is that it will go through a process where you need to add your connection. So you can name it anything you want. Let's just go to automation operator, hit save. And what it will do is it will go through the process of authenticating your account. So it'll ask you to connect, please authorize make, and you just hit accept. And there you have it. So that's set up, and we can just name it, name this webhook. All right, and because we just created that form, what will happen is we should be able to see that form here. So automation health check, that is the form. Yep, that is the form I created. So let's hit save. And we're going to hit OK. Beautiful. And always save. Always save. All right, so we've saved it. We've got our first module there. One thing we can do is if we go to Tally, now you can see I just added that, and you can see there's a webhook that has been added to Tally. So this is good. What we can do is we can click on this little clock, and we can send a test event. Before we send that test event, one thing we want to do is we want to just run this module. And this module is now listening for any information that's going to come through. And we're going to send this test event. So if we click send test event, you can see that it's queued, it's been delivered. Great, so it's been delivered. So you can see what is it delivering. So it's delivering those questions that we asked, right? These are all the questions that we asked. And if I click on this module, it says that it has received a response. So if I click on this, you can see that the output, this is what it's received, examples, right? What industry does your business operate in? What are your key business objectives? What challenges or pain points are you facing? What do your staff do to drive revenue? And the email address. So there you have it. We've just set up our first part of the automation health check. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So we've done step one. We've collected that information from the client. We've got that module set up in Tally. Now we're going to speak to ChatGPT. We're going to pass that information to ChatGPT to help us brainstorm ideas for automation. Okay, so in this worksheet, I have some prompts that I have pre-written just so it is easy for you guys to begin to work with ChatGPT. So let's just jump into Make, right? So let's go into Make. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a ChatGPT completion request. And because we've already set up our connection, we don't need to do that. So if you haven't set up your connection, please watch the other module in which we talk about setting that up. But if you haven't done that, it's really simple. You can just go to add your API key, add your organization ID. You can find all your API keys by just clicking on these links. They make it really easy. Once you've done that, you can just name the connection and then hit save. So I've already done that. I don't have to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pick the model. So we've got a bunch of different models to use. And for this, let's just select GPT-4. The cheapest model to run is 3.5. We're just going to select GPT-4 for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up the messages. And this is a key part of working with ChatGPT. So when we work with ChatGPT, there are 3 roles: the system, the user, the assistant. And just at a high level, the system is the part of the prompt where you provide contextual information around what it is that you want ChatGPT to do. So if it's anything to do with the brand tone of voice, if it's anything to do with pretext, that's going to help the model give you a result that you're looking for, you put that in that system role. So we're going to select the system role, and there is a prompt that I have pre-written. So let's just grab that one. And this is the prompt, and we'll talk about it, right? So I'm just going to paste this in here. But this will give you an idea, right? So this is the system prompt we're going to add. You are a helpful assistant that specializes in automation consulting. You work for Agency X. So put your own agency in there, an automation agency. And at Agency X, we focus on providing clients meaningful automations. We specialize in delivering no-code automations using tools such as Make.com, which allows us to implement scale automations efficiently. Okay, at Agency X, we focus on... Okay, so we can give this system prompt a lot of context around what it is that we do at our agency. And I would encourage you guys to maybe think about, your agency and what you focus on, and you can just put all that information in that system context window there, right? So the next thing we're going to add is we're going to add another role, right? So we're going to add the role of the user. So the user role is what we are asking the model. So if you've ever used ChatGPT and you type, why is the sky blue? You are acting as a user when you type, why is the sky blue? So basically the user is you. You are asking the model a specific question, a specific result that you are looking for. So that is the user role. And we're just going to grab one that we've pre-written, and hopefully this will begin to make some sense for you guys. All right. So we have received a request from a business owner interested in discovering opportunities for where they could leverage automation. Using the information below, please provide a clear, consistent list of potential automation opportunities they should explore. Please find further information provided by the business owner, right? And I'm just going to remove this for now, right? So that's the user role prompt, right? And then there is one more prompt role that we could use, and that is the assistant. So the assistant role is the role that is responding with the result. So when you get that result, that is the role of the assistant that is giving you that result. And we can give a bit of context in this window around what type of result we're looking for. For this scenario, we're not going to use it that often. And for future scenarios, we'll talk about like how we can really get the most out of the assistant role. What we're doing with prompting ChatGPT is we're trying to get a response. And with the response that we receive, we just want to make sure that we are always doing our best to give the model context, give the model as much information as we possibly can give it. So we are guiding it. And that's what we want to do when we're working with ChatGPT. So we're not done with the user prompt, right? So basically, we're going to feed in the information that we got from the business user. So we're going to say, please find further information provided by the business owner, right? So we've got the industry. And what you can see here is that when I look to my right here, I've got these fields. And these fields are the fields that we got from Tally. So you can see, okay, we're going to get the industry. And when I click this, it means that it's grabbed that variable and it's put it in the prompt, right? So we've got industry, we're going to get key business objectives, right? And we're going to click that. We've got the key business objectives, challenges, right? Got the challenges. What else? Staff drive revenue. And I'm going to grab that. Cool. So I've got all this prompt ready. And just make sure that you change this system context for your agency. Really, what you want to do with the system is just give it really nice contextual information. And then for the tokens, this is where it's important to kind of give yourself a bit of an understanding around, how many tokens are we using. So you can see that we've written a couple of words here, and this is going to be used as part of our token usage. And then also the response back that we get is important to know, like how many tokens are being used. And also the model that we are using as well, ChatGPT 4, there is a token rate. So each of the models will have a different token rate. For this, I'm just going to put maybe 300 for now. And just hit OK. So there you have it. We've just set up that ChatGPT module, right? If we want to test it, we can actually just test it as well. So if we just click here and we go run module only, and we can just pretend that we are that business user and begin to add these. So let's go. What industry does your business operate in? I'm just going to say e-commerce. I should learn how to spell as well. What are your key business objectives? Get sales and promote hair care products. What challenges or pain points are you currently facing? Getting repeat purchases. Okay. What do your staff do to drive revenue? Let's just say Facebook ads, right? So obviously a business owner is going to provide more information than this. This is just so we can test out the model. So if we say okay, it's basically going to send that information to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is working on providing a response to our request. we can see that request has been completed. And if we click on this little magnifying glass, we can see the input. So this was the input, right? This was the context, the system context, and this was the user. So you can see that industry, e-commerce, objectives, challenges, repeat purchases. You can see all that information that I entered. And then let's just go to the usage. Okay, so you can see that the total tokens was 462. So I put a guide of 300. We used 462 tokens, right? If I go to, we want to see the output of ChatGPT, right? So if I go to choices, messages, content, this is the content, right? So what it's suggesting is we can do some automated email marketing, we can do Facebook ad automation, we can have chatbots to help with customer service, inventory management automation, automated sales funnels, media, social media automation. So see how it began to write something else and then it kind of cut off. So that's because we tried to limit the number of tokens. So what I would recommend is just get an understanding of like what it is that you're trying to get back as a result. Generally, when I'm working with different types of prompts, I like to just put the prompt usage as just 0, which is the max tokens that we need to actually get the prompt working. So I'm just going to hit 0 for now. But always just make sure that you keep an eye on this because, we want to make sure that we're keeping costs low. So yeah, just some food for thought, right? So it looks like ChatGPT is working, and we're just going to set up the next modules for this automation. Okay, so the next part of the automation is to get ChatGPT to help us just develop a roadmap of automation ideas. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to pass that previous results of that ChatGPT module to another ChatGPT module and just get it to help us with a roadmap. So let's do that. So if we go back to our scenario, we can create another completion module. And what we're going to do is select we're going to add the messages for the user. This is a prompt that we got from the module that was pre-written. So how are we going to get that information from this previous module, right? So we want to get the response that ChatGPT helped us with brainstorming automation ideas. Now what we're doing is we're basically just getting those ideas and we're just listing them in a list-like style as a roadmap, right? So what we have access to now is we've got this OpenAI ChatGPT module. So when I hover over here, you can see that my ChatGPT module here is blinking, right? So there's a bit of a visual cue to know that, okay, this is the module that I'm going to be getting this information from. So if I click on this, if I go to choices, message, and then content, and I select content, then I've added that content into the prompt. So basically the prompt we've got is please turn the below automation opportunities into a roadmap of specific automations that could be explored. Please see the list below. And then we've got the previous prompt, ChatGPT, please ensure your automation is in a list with clear dot points. So see, like we've got this bit of context. You could add that as an assistant prompt as well. because we're guiding the response to be in dot points. We'll talk a little bit more about prompt engineering as a topic as well. But I think we just want to get started. We just want to start building automations. So let's just stick to these prompts, and feel free to test your own prompts. We'll just select 0 for now, and we just hit OK, right? So if we wanted to test this, what we could do is we could just, because we did run that module before, we can collect the output, right? We can collect that output. We can just save it somewhere in a notepad somewhere if we want. And what we can do is we can just test this running. So if I go run this module, see, now it's saying that, okay, it's trying to run the module, but it's saying, what is this prompt, this OpenAI prompt that you set up in this prompt? Like, what is it? So when we click on add, basically we just need to add the content here. So I'm just going to add all of that information from that previous prompt in the content here. And if I hit OK, it's going to run that. Right. So you can see when we've got these different make modules, this first one is labeled as 1. This one is labeled as 2 and 3. A really good habit to get into is actually just relabeling these different modules in terms of what they do. Just because later on you might have hundreds of these and you might work on a different project and then come back to this automation and then just forget how things work. So it's always a good habit. So this first module, this was all about brainstorm automation ideas, right? And then this one, let's rename it. This one's all about roadmap automation ideas, right? So we can see that that one completed, and we've got a result back, a whole bunch of different items that we can automate, and it will structure it a little bit as well. So that's great, right? So this is great. We're getting a bit more context because all of this stuff's going to go in our report. So let's move on to that next step. So the next part of this process is to get ChatGPT to help us research industry trends related to the client's business. And in this, I have a prompt that I've written up, but let's just jump into make, and we'll set this up, right? So I'm going to add another completion prompt here, right? And the model I'm going to use is the 4.0 model, but it might not be available. It's available as a system. Oh no. Let's see if this is going to work. So the reason why I want to use the 4.0 model is basically because the 4.0 model has more advanced web browsing capabilities. In the past, I would use something like Perplexity to set up this research phase. But let's just test this out if this is going to work for our use case. It looks like the GPT 4.0 model is only available for the system prompt, but maybe we can just test this. So let's just put this in. So this is the prompt I've got. So use the client's industry below and research key areas where competitors have gained competitive advantage with their use of AI and automation technology. Please mention the competitor and show only interesting and relevant examples. Okay, client's industry below. Okay, and the industry, we're going to grab it from, because this is a question that we ask, what industry does your business operate in? So if I click that, that is the industry field, right? So let's just go okay. And let's just test this out. So if I go run module, I'm going to say hair care and beauty. All right. Now, when we're doing research, in the past I've used Perplexity, which is another LLM that we can use to get this response. Let's see what this is going to give us. Message. Oh, cool. So it has done a bit of research. So this is the cool thing with the 4.0 model, is that it can actually browse the internet. So that's why we were asking it this question. In highly competitive hair care and beauty industry, companies have leveraged AI and automation technology to gain significant advantages. Here are a few examples. So it's got L'Oreal, it's got Sephora, right? Procter and Gamble, automated manufacturing, Estee Lauder, right? Cool. So it looks like it is giving us some research. The thing you might want to just work on or just double check is sometimes these models, they like to just make things up. So in the past, sometimes I found that, it mentions a brand, and then in terms of the automation, it's just made it up. But I think what we want to really understand is that this is the power of these LLMs, right? We can prompt them in specific ways, and we can get them to help us with a specific response, a specific result. And what we're trying to do with this lead gen tool is just provide the client immediate value, right? So I think in a context like this, where they're not actually paying for this, right? They're getting this for free. I think this should be okay. Really what we want to do is really just showcase that, hey, we've built this report, you've got this report, and now, we've got a bit of trust. Let's now actually chat and understand how we can really help you, right? And we ask those questions for a specific purpose, which is to begin the conversation around really understanding the root of their issues and then building out automations that are going to resolve those issues. So we've got our research module. Let's just rename this one and just call it research, right? We've got that one. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Okay, so the last step is to generate the report and then email the client. So what we're going to do is, in this worksheet, at the bottom, there is a template. And if you just click on the template, you can make your own copy of it. But let's just talk about the template, right? So basically, this is the template. And feel free to chop and change this however you want it to look like. We've got a logo we've got on the top left, and we've got Agency X, Automation Roadmap 4, name. We've got a bit of copy that is going to be the same for every report. Now we can have this generate dynamically if we wanted to for each report, but for this context, this scenario, we're just going to keep the content very basic for the intro page. We're just going to talk about automation and why it's important that that business owner should be thinking about automation. And then we're going to just jump into the specific sections of the report. So we've got opportunities for automation, the automation roadmap, and then automation competitor research. So you can see that underneath each of these sections, there are these curly brackets. And these curly brackets are important because it's going to make where we want to populate this information. So now that we have this, let's just jump into make and get this going. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for the Google Docs, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a document from template. So if I connect that there, should be good. And then we want to find this document, right? So you would have made a copy somewhere, and I've got this folder automation operator. So if I click that, I should be able to find the AI automation health check template. Beautiful. Okay, so see how it's come up with the values name, ops, roadmap, competitor research. So those are those curly brackets that I was talking about. So what we're going to do is we're just going to place some information from our previous modules in here. So for the name, we can ask for the name in the front end. I'm just going to put the email address for now. For the opportunities, we've got the brainstorm module, right? And we want to make sure that we collect that information. So we're going to get the content of the prompt there. For the roadmap, this is the roadmap module number 3. We're going to grab that content there. And the competitor research, we're going to just grab that content there. And then we can name this document. So we can just say AI automation health check, right? If we do have the name, we can get the name, but I didn't ask for the name in the form. That might be a good idea to put that, to maybe ask for the name. That's a modification that you guys can do further in your own time. So let's just leave it pretty basic. And then it's going to ask us, where do you want the new document location? So I'm just going to put that in that folder. You might want to have a specific folder that you output these reports to, right? So I'm just going to put it in that automation operator folder, and we're just going to hit OK, right? So what that's going to do is it's going to populate that Google document. It's going to generate that report. Now let's work on the following next steps. Okay, so we've got the template working. We've got that report that will be generated. Just as a check, let's just make sure that we save our scenario, because we've added a couple of modules, right? Now, the thing is that we've got this report, but we don't want to send it as a Google document. We want to just send it as a PDF. And an easy way to do that is we can use a module called Google Drive. We can download the file, right? And we can set this up. Now it's going to ask for the file ID, and the file ID is this document ID that we get from the Google Doc. So what's happening is that it's generating a report, a new document, and that new document has an ID. So that's the ID we're going to pass to get. And we can go to these advanced settings, and we can convert Google Documents into a PDF, which is what we want. And then we've got that set up. The next step is to email. Let's email this to the recipient. So send an email. I'm going to connect that there. And the recipient is, because we did get the email at the beginning, so we're going to get the email address, right? We can call the subject your AI health check report. You can just say something like, hi there, for the content, hi there, find your report attached below, right? Then for the attachments, we're going to get the Google Drive download file, right? Just make sure we select that. And then hit OK. Why is that erroring? Value must not be empty. Okay. Let's just maybe remove this. Do this again. Alright. Beautiful. So this should then send that email. Now, we've done most of the scenario. I just wanted to add one more step because maybe we want to archive this information in somewhat of a database, and we're just going to use Google Docs just to save all of those responses, because maybe you want to, set up some automation where if you've got these responses in Google Docs, you might want to send that information somewhere else. So we're just going to add another one, and we're going to set up a Google Sheet. And what we're going to do is we're going to let's actually see the Google Sheet. So I'm just going to show you guys what I've set up. So in this folder, I've got a Google Sheet, and I've just called it the Health Check DB. It's really simple. Basically, we've got the email, the industry, objective, pain point, and revenue columns there. So if I go back into my make, what we're going to do is we're looking for something which is create row. My bad. Add row. That's what we're looking for. Not create row. Add row. Okay, so let's go add, and we're going to find the spreadsheet. So I have it in find it, health check, sheet name. Beautiful. So because I already pre-created that Google spreadsheet, it's pulling in the values of the columns, and you might find that when you connect the spreadsheet and you've got these values, that's great. And then maybe later on you change these values in the spreadsheet. If you click refresh, it will always just refresh the spreadsheet and reread the values. So we can go here and then just save all of those values that we got back, right? So we want to get the email address, we want to get the industry, what industry does your business operate in, the objective, what are your key business objectives, what's your pain points, oh, and I was getting the wrong thing. Actually, I was getting the fields by ID. You want to make sure that you get the right value. See, even I make mistakes. So let's do that again. So we want to get the email address. We want to get the industry, the objectives, challenges, and then the revenue. Beautiful. Okay. And always just hit save. Just make sure to save. So there we have a bit of a process. We can just auto align it and it will align it nicely. So let's go to the next step and test this whole thing working out. Okay, we're going to test this thing out. I realized that when I was recording, I didn't really talk about the setting up the different Google Workspace connections. But basically, if you didn't figure it out already, for every one of the Google Workspace apps that you use, you need to use your own Google account. So throughout this process, I've been using my own Google account, and you can simply just add your own. It's really easy to do. You just sign in and it will authenticate you, and you should be able to set that up. If you guys have any issues, just drop it in a comment and we can help you sort that out. So let's now actually test this automation working, right? So one thing we haven't done yet is we haven't actually turned this automation on. So we can turn this automation on here. And now what this means is this automation is always going to be listening for this tally form response. And once it gets that tally form response, it will then trigger and run the automation. So let's just go through now. And if we go to our automation health check in Tally, so if you go to the share option in Tally, there will be a share link, and you just want to get that share link, and then it will look like this. So this is actually this is what's live, right? So this is what we're going to fill out, and we're going to see that automation flow through into Make. So one thing I might do is I might just split the view, split view, so we can kind of see it all flow through nicely. So let's just do that. Okay, so moment of truth, right? So let's just pick a client type, think of it. We're going to enter it in. So what industry does your business operate in? I'm going to say financial advice, right? Help clients save money. Help clients manage money, right? Let's say getting leads. That's the challenge, right? We use LinkedIn. LinkedIn to post, right? And then the email address is, let's use an email address that I can use. Right, so let's hit submit. Okay, submitted the form. Now if we go to Make, let's make sure it's save. And that form should have submitted to Make, and you can see that now something is running. You can see here in the bubbles that, you know, our automation is running. So we've got that tally response. If I just make it bigger, maybe I can just unlink this actually. Separate all the tabs. Jump into it, right? Okay, so we can see that this automation just ran and it was successful. So we can see that the tally got those fields of information about financial advice. We were struggling with getting leads, and then it went through and generated some cool stuff for us. Beautiful. And then looks like everything worked, right? So let's have a look at the report. Let's have a look at the email that we got at the end of the day. So I'm going to open up that email. Okay, so I've just opened up the email and this is the report, right? So you can see we've got the opportunities for automation. We've got the automation roadmap, right? We've got the competitive research. So we were talking about financial advice, so it's come up with a couple of competitors: Betterment, Wealthfront, Personal Capital, Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, Vanguard. Cool. And there's the report, right? And then if we just go to our spreadsheet, we should be able to find the responses as well, where our automation. Yeah. So our spreadsheet is updated with those responses we got from the client as well. So there you have it, right? So this is an automation, and we touched on a bunch of different things, right? How to automate reports, how to work with ChatGPT. This is a really great automation. I would encourage you guys to look at building and to tailor it and make it your own. So there you have it. Have fun building. If you guys have any issues, then just let us know in the comments, and we're here to help you and support.